In the search for profit, I've been buying up 3 NBA players and today I'm going to reveal who they are. What's going on, guys? Matt here, back again with another video. So we are in the midst of the NBA playoffs and the hype train is squarely on players like Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic for all the right reasons. And they're leading their teams deeper into the playoffs with a championship goal in mind. And whilst their card prices soar, I've always been under the belief that in the card space, if people zig, you zag. To demonstrate this, I'm going to highlight 3 players that didn't make the NBA playoffs and some that may have dropped in price for this period. Before we start, make sure you do hit the like and subscribe button down below if you enjoy sports card content. I do try to post twice a week. And let's go through the first player I've been investing in, and that's Wendell Carter Jr. from the Orlando Magic. Now let's do a little game here. I want none of you guys to cheat. I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds and I want you to guess how old Wendell is. Alright, so time is up. Wendell is only 23 years old and only had his birthday last month. And I don't know about you, but for me, when I kind of guessed how old he was, I kind of thought he was around 25 or 26 years old because of how long he's been playing. I think you kind of have to realize he was also in that same draft class as Luka Doncic and Trae Young, which was semi-recent. Now going back to his rookie season, he was actually one of the more desired rookies to chase at the start of the season as he was seen as a promising double-double machine. But as most Bulls fans would know, their former coach Jim Boylen stunted a lot of the team's growth with Wendell and even another solid young player at the time in Lauri Markkanen. I highly encourage you to search up Jim Boylen on YouTube, and there are a ton of videos showing his incompetence as a coach. Fast forward to last season and he was then added in as a trade piece with the pick that ended up being Franz Wagner to the Orlando Magic for Nikola Vucevic. This season was massive for Wendell, putting up 15 points and 10 rebounds a game with a true shooting percentage of just over 60%. And after the All-Star break, Wendell really hit amazing territory, going just under 20 points and 12 rebounds in 11 games. The Magic would have been really pleased as they were able to fit another young big man in Mo Bamba into their starting lineup, with Wendell sliding to the 4th spot. But in saying so, one of the big risks with buying Wendell Carter Jr. at the moment is his injury history. Unfortunately, through his 4 seasons, he's been unable to play out an entire season, with this season being his best at 62 games. Moving forward as a buyer, I would love to see him hit the 70-game mark so we can remove the question about his durability. Another question I have with Wendell is what the Magic's plans are with him moving forward. I think initially when he was traded there, they would have thought that he was going to be a small part of their future. But after his recent season, I can see him being a key piece. I'm very intrigued to see what the Magic do in the offseason, considering that they just got the #1 pick in the NBA draft and also have a returning Jonathan Isaac. Splitting time next season between Wendell, Mo Bamba and Jonathan Isaac will be very interesting. And if Orlando decide to draft Chet Holmgren or Jabari Smith, it makes it even harder. I might be biased, but I still think the Magic lean towards Wendell at this point, lock his position down and add pieces around him. I'll be keeping my eye on the Magic throughout the offseason, and if there's any doubt about Wendell's future there, that may be a selling point for me. Next up, let's move to the West, and more specifically the San Antonio Spurs with their young forward Keldon Johnson. Now this season I was stupid enough to predict that Derek White would break out over the other young stars in DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson, so this is me just really fixing that error there. Keldon along with DeJounte Murray had an improvement in both of their play this season, and Keldon's shooting especially had a huge jump. He doubled the amount of 3-pointers he attempted this season from 2.6 to 5.3, and even made them at a 39.8% rate, which is amazing as you'd expect his percentage to drop with more shooting. I was actually quite shocked when Team USA brought him along with their team in the Tokyo Olympics, but it's actually been a good thing for Keldon as he's used that experience to springboard his development this season. Quite a slow start to the season, Keldon ended up having a career year for the San Antonio Spurs, averaging an impressive 17 points, 6.1 rebounds and 2.1 assists. And even better yet, he averaged just under 21 points, 6.5 rebounds and 2.9 assists in the second half of the year, helping the Spurs make the NBA play-in tournament and showing that he does have all-star potential. His development over the last few years has a lot of people directly comparing him to former Spurs and current Clippers superstar Kawhi Leonard. Now, if you compare their stats at the same point of their careers, Keldon is actually better than Kawhi offensively, and nothing against Keldon, who is a good defender, but Kawhi was a defensive beast almost immediately into his career, so Kawhi takes the edge there. You've also got to remember that Kawhi had to contend with the big 3 of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, so Keldon does not have to defer like Kawhi did there. That pairing of Keldon and DeJounte, along with the value drafting of the Spurs front office, who is one of the best in the league, really might be enough to pole vault them up the West next season, considering it is much weaker compared to other seasons. I'm excited about Keldon's development next season, and I'll be trying to stack some nice cards when I can. And the third and final player we're going to highlight today is LaMelo Ball from the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo is coming off an exciting second season, being named to his first All-Star team at the age of 20. The only 3 players that have made an All-Star team at a younger age are LeBron James, Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson, so I do think he's in some elite company there. He finished the season with averages of 20.1 points, 6.7 rebounds, 7.6 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. And although Charlotte may not be an impressive franchise, he is only one triple-double away from the Hornets' all-time triple-double record, which is ridiculous. We remember LaMelo coming out of the NBL having a lot of praise over his playmaking, but a large amount of concerns over his inconsistent shooting. In saying so, his three-point shooting has improved dramatically, going from 25% in the NBL to 35% in his rookie season and 38% this season, which does come from 7.5 attempts per game. He also has something that the other two players I've suggested don't have, which is his own branding and marketability. Love or hate them, the Ball family have been spoken about for years, and LaMelo has had to contend with the hype nearly his entire playing career. He's also had to deal with the reality show being centered around his family, the constant pumping up by his outspoken father LeVar, and criticism from fans and the media so far. A recent study by the Action Network ranked LaMelo as the 9th most marketable player in the league, and they based this ranking on factors including audience rating, social performance, and overall likability. I think if you looked at everything around him, you might assume that he's a little bit arrogant, but he really does seem down to earth and someone who has a strong work ethic from all reports. His improvement throughout his professional career has me very confident in saying that I do think he wants to be one of the all-time greats. Another thing that bodes well for his marketability is his unique and flashy playstyle. If you've watched LaMelo, you know he's essentially a highlight reel type of player with his incredible passing and shot making. But in saying so, he's still prone to low basketball IQ type of plays. That sort of stuff will iron out in the future as LaMelo matures, but he's definitely on his way. People might also say that he plays for a small market team and use that against him, which I totally understand, but I do feel like the tide is changing in Charlotte. In both of LaMelo's seasons, the Hornets have made the playing spot and lost, unfortunately. But it's a nice step considering Charlotte hasn't won a playoff series since 2002. One last thing is that the Charlotte Hornets recently fired their coach James Borrego, and after doing some research online, it seems like the current favourite for that position is Mike D'Antoni. If you haven't followed Mike D'Antoni's coaching career, he's very well known for boosting the play of his point guards thanks to his system, which employs a large amount of high pick and rolls. Think of players like Steve Nash and James Harden who won MVPs under his system, as well as players like Raymond Felton and Jeremy Lin enjoying career years under him. Now, of course, the Hornets need to find a solid big man, which is their main weakness at the moment, but imagine LaMelo running pick and rolls all day. In saying so, D'Antoni has never won a championship, so I'm not guaranteeing a ring, but he's always been a solid regular season coach, which should be enough to again contend for a playoff spot. I know I can overestimate projections because you can get excited, but if D'Antoni gets hired, I can easily see LaMelo being a 25-10 player next season. And we know a potential coaching hire can influence a player's card market, so if D'Antoni gets hired, expect a slight price bump in LaMelo's market. I've spoken in a previous video why I've held off buying the big players from the 2020 NBA draft class, but I do feel like their prices have come down for me to enter the market for them. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you gained anything out of that, make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, and let me know your thoughts below. As always, I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Take care.